All right, you know what? Let's hold off on the shower. Let's just get through this bad boy right now. Freaking structured data extraction. Here we go, baby. Woo, let's rally. All right, so I think before we go ahead and actually start on scenario 6, it's actually very important to go ahead and actually go through this document. They don't give out any sample questions for scenario 6 for this. They don't. So we actually had to go out there in a separate session. We actually prompted our own. So for starters here, I'm just going to take this and I'm going to break it down and I'm going to move these questions. I'm going to move this thing over to, I'm going to move it over here. And then we basically have this question. I'm going to go ahead and basically just move this question right here. And then this is actually from the original prompt, primary domains. So I am going to go ahead and actually paste this guy out. So your extraction pipeline is different. Okay, which 2L choice? Okay, so it's the effective choice. Hang on, which tool choice configuration chooses? A, B, C, D. Okay, so before we even go ahead and do anything, I think I have to just go ahead and go to the structured data extraction. And I'm going to have to actually say this. So correct me if I'm wrong. If you go through the study guide PDF that Anthropic has provided, we actually don't have any sample questions for scenario 6, which is structured data extraction, which is why we actually created our own. So I actually have no idea what structured data extraction is, why this scenario is different from the previous 2 scenarios that we have already covered. And then I'm actually just going to go ahead and actually just gather this. And the first thing I got to make sure right now is these questions are actually even the right questions. So for starters, just to make sure that we're all aligned on the same page, are the following questions, which I think I have from 2 separate prompts, even the right sample questions for scenario 6 before we actually do anything? Yes, Anthropic does not include sample questions for scenario 6. We built 13 or 14. We're built in a separate prompt. We have 6 questions across 2 sets, all for scenario 6. Here's the important clarification on numbering before we go ahead and actually start. The questions you built came from an earlier session where we were numbering them as continuous. For clarity going forward, we have 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18. So let's go ahead. We have 13, 14, 15, and then we also have 16, 17, 18. Okay, cool. So we actually have additional questions that we can go out there and actually play with. What is a structured? Okay, so why is the scenario different from scenarios 1 and 3. Okay, scenario 1, scenario 3. So we have this. What your 6 questions are testing for. The scenario content are fully sourced from the exam guide. The questions, wording, and distractors were constructed to match the format. Okay, so these 6 questions are solid preparation and will prepare for the exam. They are not anthropoficial, but they test the right things. Ready for question 13 whenever it is that you are. All right, so we have 13, 16, 14, 17, 15, 18. So let's go ahead and actually get on it. So now I'm going to take all of this information right here. And I'm going to go back. And I'm going to take this. And I'm going to put a little divider right here. And I'm going to do this. And I'm actually just going to move all this over to the next question. So we just have it down. Okay, and then we'll get to that in a second. But for this guy right here, okay, what is the structured data extractor? So we have all that information now. So now I'm going to go ahead and actually take on all this information. Okay, so I guess this is actually a bonus for people when we actually make an app out of this, right? All right, so now that we have that out of the way, you're building a structured data extraction system using Claude. The system extracts information from unstructured documents, including invoices, contracts, and research reports, validates the output using JSON schemas. All right. What is a JSON schema? What are we referencing to when we're talking about maintains high accuracy? And then it says must handle edge cases gracefully. What do we mean by handle edge cases gracefully? Voice prompting is so clutch, but it's still got like, still came through. And what do we mean when we're talking about integrate with downstream billing and compliance systems? What do we specifically mean when we're talking about downstream? Because when I think about downstream, I think about the coordinator agent versus sub-agent. Okay, and this is definitely the last question that I have bandwidth for, because I could feel myself like weaning right now. Okay, so your extraction pipeline processes invoices. You define an extract invoice tool, which is a strict JSON. Okay, so I need you to define the following terms for me. Extraction pipeline, extract underscore invoice tool, JSON schema, tool underscore choice, auto. I don't know what that is. What is a plain text acknowledgement? See how hot voice prompting is? Yo, let me know in the chat, yo. for this particular question, because it's also a new scenario and we don't have any reference to what the correct answers are, I don't have any context, and largely because it's a new scenario, even if I did, I still wouldn't know why the right answer is the right answer and why the wrong answers are the wrong answers, even if you provided the explanation with the descriptions that's already written inside the PDF study guide that Anthropic has provided. So you're going to have to give me some extra clarity here. With as much plain English as possible. And I'm just going to insert the divider here so I know. And then I'm also going to insert a divider here so I know. I'm going to grab this. I'm going to take this. And I'm going to go ahead and prompt it up. And then I have to go out there and actually we're going to have it down here. And this information here, I'm actually just going to go ahead and actually have this. In a separate guy, because this is more like a scenario 6 game plan. So I'm actually going to have this thing called the scenario 6 game plan right here. So I understand how it is that we are attacking scenario 6. Okay. And I'm going to go back over here. And then now it's just like we can just isolate that onto one question. And now we basically have this, everything's all nice and clean. And then going back down to scenario 6 game plan. Got it. We already needed additional questions anyway, so I think this format kind of works out. And then now we basically have all of this for questions. This is actually the next question. So I'm going to be looking forward to studying this. Let's get it.